Folks, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gail, and I just wanted to do a quick video because I haven't really kind of done anything for a little while because I've had a really bad cold for about a month. Yeah, I was quite nostalgic for this cold when it first came out because it kind of felt like pretty old school, not like the weird COVID type viruses that were knocking about. This felt like a proper old school cold, and but yeah, it's kind of lingered for about a month. So there's been no real investigations. I do have one that I took part in a tattoo studio, and it was quite impressive because it's an old building in Birmingham, and I think there used to be back-to-back houses there. So yeah, I just wanted to do this quick video because normally you just kind of hear this big old voice behind a camera, um, and yeah, because I've got the camera and microphone, it's usually right next to my head, so I do sound like a bear or something when I'm talking. Anyway, I really have enjoyed the Cannock chase investigations of late, and the location that we went to, the Marquis Drive one, it's really interesting place anyway, and I genuinely, for anyone who's like new to my channel, and welcome to my channel. I'll upload videos whenever I've done an investigation or if there's something interesting I want to talk about. But I try to be honest and true to what's going on. And seriously, a recent video that got quite a few views. It was essentially a case of hearing what we felt was a bell, and we were literally we were primed to be terrified. We heard a bell, and this bell was it was getting closer and closer and closer. And it's what really kind of bugs me the most is that my camera never picked it up, but we were both saying, what is that noise? What is it? This bell's getting closer and closer. It was almost like there was an animal or something attached to a big bell racing towards us. Um, and as I was kind of panning away, Kim basically said, I can't remember exactly what the words she said, but it kind of felt something like run, just run. And you know what it's like, if you're out in these places and someone says run, um, you want to instinctively, if anyone would say, well, you know what, you're out there to investigate the paranormal, just why are you running away? Um, but I think it was I was caught up in a moment, and um, fleeing just seemed a natural thing to do at that point. I've never run away from anything paranormal as such, but there was something about the vibe of that night as well, and the area. In fact, both nights that we went there was something about the vibe that was really thick, and the air was just thick with it. It just felt really off. And I've been in some areas of Cannock that have got so much paranormal history weaved into the tapestry of the land. And so many anecdotal stories. And I felt fine. And yeah, you go to certain places on occasional nights, and you do get the vibe. But this place, 4 times I've been there. The first time was I didn't get more than I don't know 20-30 foot in, and I was on my own. And it was a case of I heard footsteps crunching towards me. I didn't see anyone, and so I fled. I think that's a sensible thing to do if you're on your own. Then the second time, it was freezing cold, and again, um, the vibes weren't good. I got a little bit further, but yeah, my camera went down that night. My electronics were dropping like flies. Um, so that wasn't a good vibe either. And I always like, I mean, I'm objective about these things. If my meter stops working or if my camera stops working, it could very well be just something technical. But there's so many things on that night that kind of stopped working. Torch, camera, um, Trifield was weird playing up as well. I was just left with my phone. And then there was the night with Kim where we kind of fled. So, um, that was just on a whole new different level of strangeness and sinister. And then we returned with Paul and Shannon and a few friends. And again, but it was, oh, sorry for yawning. Again, that was, the vibes were intermittent. Um, you could, 1 minute he was like, this feels really off. Next minute it was okay. And then, so it's such an interesting place. But what they actually said as well was going in the opposite direction to where the cars parked, away from the forest, but down the track. They said that was really, really weird and sinister down there as well. And both of these areas have been associated with sightings of a black-eyed. Oh Jesus! I really gotta stop doing it. Both these areas have been associated with sightings of a black-eyed girl, and so I mean, I don't believe that there is, whatever it is that people have seen or allegedly seen. I think if it's paranormal, maybe it's something else. Maybe there's something there that's um, taking on the shape and appearance of a girl, maybe, and maybe it's the same thing that takes on the shape and appearance of a dog man, or the odd sighting that there's been of a hairy man, a Bigfoot, if you like, um, and and then there are other things as well that people have allegedly seen, and we saw something years ago that, well, 2019, and something that was morphing on Castle Ring. So it does really, really make you think whether there is a very strong supernatural presence on there that is kind of omnipotent over the whole of a chase, and that there's something tied into the fabric of the chase, that it kind of knows, and it just manifests in various places. So um, you'll see something. Perhaps I'm just speculating. Something that perhaps is either threatening, if you're threatening to the place. So if you're like a big group of lads or something, some weird stuff happens where they see something rise up and it's big with red eyes. This has been anecdotally spoken about, and it kind of chases their car. Um, or you see like a big wolf type creature standing up on two legs with or you see yellow eyes. It feels like potentially could be that there's something there that is actually manifesting as a reflection of your presence, rather than maybe just random. But that's just a random theory about the about Cannock Chase. But yeah, hopefully I'm going to get back there in a couple of weeks to the same location. November in that area is actually really interesting. We had some real weird activity in early November, and we'll be going back there on probably about the 9th, I think, of November, if all goes well, and hopefully the weather will be good. Um, yeah, really want to get, I suppose, I could do with a better night cam, to be fair, and I could do with a better microphone, or maybe we carry parabolic mics sometimes, but I could do with one myself and make sure that it's set to record as well. My friend is actually investing in a very expensive military grade night scope, which will hopefully shed some light on what's going on up there. Um, I mean, the more technology you've got, the more basic technology for observation is really helps with those kinds of places. Ultimately, with anything paranormal, unless you have got unlimited funds, you have got scientific expertise, um, the ability and the knowledge to understand, what experiments you could try, um, how to stimulate um, phenomena, maybe, um, in such a way that you can measure it. I mean, ultimately, that is the ultimate aim, or should be, for any kind of paranormal investigator to be able to observe and measure. Um, it's 99.9% of us don't have the ability to do that, and so observation is still the key. So it's frustrating because you'll experience a whole raft of things on somewhere like Cannock Chase that sadly you don't get to capture on camera. Um, and yeah, I mean, maybe one day, if there's a persistent type of activity, maybe one day, some of the big investigators will take equipment up there and I don't know, use a spectrum analyzer or something, put signal out, measure the signal back in. That would be an amazing way to go about it. To actually scan with lidar. We've often we often recognise lidar as something that measures the ground and topography of the land. But more recent years, lidar has been used to um, it's used to actually three-dimensionally measure holes, which is really useful um, for construction. And but it's also useful if you have a big footprint, to use a lidar scanner, which you can actually get with some iPads. But yeah, I've seen lidar used to actually pick up what doesn't appear to be there. I mean, there's an episode of Expedition Bigfoot where they use lidar in a tunnel, and there's definitely like a predator-esque movement of a figure that's only picked up in lidar. Oh, obviously there's infrared, there's ultraviolet, there's all other means of measuring stuff. There's to kind of measure signals and stuff, and use drones, and a lot of this technology is like beyond the ability for the average paranormal investigator to use. But yeah, I suppose the important thing that we do is to um, anecdotally collect data. It's kind of fairly easy to look to see through fake accounts of what people have experienced, um, because they're a little bit sensationalized, and yeah, you kind of smell a rat because it's fake accounts of Cannock Chase encounters and stuff are generally things that are connected to urban myths, and it's generally stuff that sometimes is already known, but for some reason, there's a fantastic account of, something that has occurred with like a werewolf or something, and it's stood up. It was 10 foot tall with big red eyes, and yeah, but you like to know where the source of this information came from, and I don't know. I'm sure there's some truth in all of this stuff, but I think you've just got to be true when you go out to Cannock Chase and do investigations. So most of this investigations that I've done, um, sometimes I hear stuff that doesn't get picked up on a camera. A lot of the times it's just either cold or it's tiring, and We stayed there for a few hours, but I suppose if we were to stay out there till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, then there is that the theory of the witching hour where things tend to happen, and I've known people to camp out and Cannock Chase, and some experience stuff, others don't. The one interesting thing about Cannock Chase is it does have the ley line that runs directly through it. I think it's the one that comes from Isle of Wight, and it goes right up to Scotland. And interesting enough, it goes directly dissects Sutton Park, which is for me that was my first paranormal hotbed of activity. Experienced a lot of stuff there as a kid. Didn't know about the ley line, but the ley line does dissect it, and then it runs a little bit down from Castle Ring. But I think the thing with ley lines is we nobody really knows. It's okay saying there's a line, it's a ley line, and it's you don't know if it's magnetic or not. There's nothing, there's no way to really kind of measure a ley line, and there's no way of knowing how big a ley line is width-wise. So is a ley line like a kilometer or something of activity? Is it like a couple of 100 meters? Is it even smaller than that? So all of this is kind of relevant if you're entertaining the idea of ley lines, and I wish there was science behind ley lines. I don't know if there is any science behind ley lines, as if anyone's measured it. I've had a look at activity along ley lines, and I think that's the only way people can sort of, I don't know, justify the existence of a ley line is to look at the activity and what ley lines actually connect. As in sort of historical, um, ancient or historical places connected by ley lines, or do we um, connect the ley lines to these places, make them fit? Um, it's always a bit of a debate, but Cannock Chase does have one ley line that does run, and it runs in an area where, if you ever watch my video of Bodisat Hall, it ran exactly through where we found a giant footprint. And it's a shame really, because I could have done with LiDAR that day, a LiDAR scan, or even just a mold to actually put in the hole. When we got back there, I think it was about a month later, it had rained, and what was there was all kind of washed out and stuff. So it wasn't wasn't great. I apologise. It's quite late. But yeah, it's yeah, Cannock Chase is really interesting. But you know what? This video was just, I've gone off on a bit of a tangent. I just wanted to say welcome to my channel for any new subscribers, and I'm gonna try and do more videos. There's a little less investigations this time of year because most of them are outside. Pretty much all of them are outside, and because this is Cannock Chase Paranormal, it probably does what it says on the tin. Most of them are Cannock Chase, but I am planning to get up to Sutton Park as well and do a few outside ones there. For anybody who doesn't know what Sutton Park is, and um, it's probably smaller in area than Cannock Chase, but it is literally just one giant area, and whereas Cannock Chase is interspersed with like roads and stuff. Um, Albeit if you was walking down one of those roads, you would feel very isolated. All the same. But Sutton Park, if you're in the middle of Sutton Park, you really are in the middle of this kind of area, and it is a park, but it's got ancient and very old forests in it as well. And for anyone who likes Lord of the Rings, both Cannock Chase and Sutton Park were an inspiration. And Cannock Chase, J.R.R. Tolkien was based on Cannock Chase when he was having training before he went to the First World War. Before he went to war, over I can't remember whereabouts he would have gone. in probably under Belgium, I think it was. But anyway, yeah, that's where he trained, and there was inspiration was already there for bits of the Lord of the Rings maybe, and so yeah, it's a very mysterious place, but and so is Sutton Park. I've had some really weird experiences at Sutton Park, so um, when when I'm a lot fitter, because I haven't really looked after myself over the last couple of years, and a lot of people around me who are getting very ill at the moment, mostly heart and stuff, and it does kind of like spell a little bit of a warning to me. I'm of an age now where I need to kind of look after myself, and I want to carry on investigating. So the last thing I want to do is, find I'm running into physical troubles. That stops me from doing that because there ain't a lot left fun in life to do. Paranormal investigating is a really good way of getting a bit of exercise out in the fresh air. Even inside, it's good fun. Um, but yeah, it's I don't want to I don't want to be. I mean, being ill for a month. I mean, not ill, but just suffering the effects of a cold for a month. I've still got a bit of it now, and it just makes me want to be a bit more healthy so that I'm not getting so many colds and so long, and start looking after myself a bit. Um, but yeah, I hope you guys are well, and thanks for following the videos. Um, and I would say don't always expect something crazy happening um in the video. And I'll say another thing actually before I go. When when I record these videos, even when I watch them back, I'm not necessarily kind of sort of scrutinizing what's going on. If something obvious happens, then yeah, I might timestamp that, but for the most part, I'm not really looking what's going on. And interestingly, when you see the actual videos, sometimes I've got the camera pointed one way, but I'm looking another way. So I'm not always looking in a direction of a camera. And to my detriment, that's why sometimes the camera's pointing a little bit down or a little bit up or just a little bit wonky. But um, yeah, so sometimes it's easy to miss stuff because I'm not actually looking at it, but the camera is. So I really appreciate you guys for letting us know when you see stuff on videos, because it's not something I'm generally looking out for. And when I edit the videos, which is I don't really edit them too deeply, but obviously you know um, investigations can sort of go on a bit, and conversations are had, and sometimes I think it's probably not a conversation for the video. Um, and if I think someone's, talking about I don't know, something very personal, then I might edit that out because yeah, people forget that there's a camera running sometimes, and so it's not really fair to leave that stuff in. So most of the time, there's not too much editing to do, but maybe a little blurring out here and there, and the odd edit of a sentence. Um, but yeah, for the most part, I've just got the camera going until the battery runs out. And depending on where I am and what the circumstances are, sometimes the battery just goes dead straight away. So anyway, this video's dragging on. It's 24 minutes, and I'm gonna bid you good evening, and have a great week ahead. And I will, I'll upload what I've got from this tattoo studio, because I did record some video. Um, I'm not entirely sure if there's anything massively paranormal that I experienced, foot or shadow, but I will upload what I've got anyway. I'll probably splice it together, just make it one video. But it was a fun night and caught people in a tattoo studio. I've never been in a tattoo studio before. It's on 2 floors as well. Lots of different rooms, lots of different consultation rooms, and it's a very interesting building and a very interesting place, Birmingham, with a lot of history. So that said, as in summary, thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for subscribing, and yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, maybe I'll have a few stories for you as well before the next investigation, because we are coming up to Halloween, and yeah, there's still bits of my history of what I've experienced with paranormal stuff as a child, and that and I haven't posted this stuff yet because a little bit like the last video I posted of what happened in my home when we moved in 1989. I'm never 100% whether it's it's good to post these things, because when I hear myself recounting these stories, I I kind of feel like an idiot. Um, I feel like I don't want to be sounding like I'm making up junk. And genuinely, everything that's happened to me, I've experienced. Um, and how those experiences um, felt at the time, and how I processed those experiences, they they were real. Um, but that is not to say that, as a, I don't know, 13-year-old, say that they actually, I don't know. I mean, that's the thing, you see. If I come out, if I say something that's happened to me, um, it's very subjective, because I can't go back, and I can't say to you, and there's proof of this, because I'd simply, 13 years old, I probably didn't have it. It was just what I experienced, and how I processed it, and how I made sort of sense of stuff. So there are a few stories that I've been holding back, um, and these are stories that did not make me interested in the paranormal. It's kind of one of the things that certain people put out on posts on Facebook. What got you into the paranormal? Well, it certainly wasn't my experiences as a kid. If anything, at the time, I was 100%. I was terrified of these experiences, and when you experience stuff, you just want to find a happy place where it's full of light and people, and not this, because paranormal might seem exciting, um, but when you experience something yourself and you feel kind of invaded, it's terrifying. So yeah, then and so all these early experiences I've had, they never encouraged me to get into the paranormal. Um, I got into the paranormal essentially because a friend of mine who was visiting my place of work in a professional capacity, he once said, oh, he asked me. Well, he basically said, "Oh, you've sort of done psychology. Would you, do you want to come along and to a to Drakelow Tunnels? It's these dark tunnels, and it's haunted." And up until that point, I was firmly in the most haunted camp. So I would watch Most Haunted and revel in the excitement of that. And just to really enjoy it as entertainment. So, and I thought it'd be interesting, and to go to somewhere that was actually supposedly haunted. Never been anywhere that was actually haunted. Somewhere you go to see a ghost, perhaps, or experience something out of the ordinary. Um, And yeah, so that kind of got me interested in it. And I was also interested in the people that took part in it, and the effect of perceived paranormal activity, and how it made people behave. It's there's a little bit of a psychologist in me, even though I've never done psychology professionally. I just studied it at undergraduate level, and graduated in it. But yeah, I think once you've done psychology, similarly to sociology, you never quite kind of lose the interest in understanding the motivations of the mind and the body. And so yeah, it was a good experience for me to go along. Um, but then I there was my first trip to Cannock Chase, um, and I think I described it at the time that Sutton Park felt paranormal, Cannock Chase felt real. That there was stuff going on there that was could actually physically snatch you up. Um, yeah, the first few times I went there, we encountered the what we think was a big cat that growled, and he didn't quite know. I mean, we didn't know, fully exactly that it was a big cat, but there was something we saw, caught a glimpse of something, and there's quite a few of us as well, and a lot of them. Surprisingly to me, they didn't want to go back, um, because they were all there for paranormal. But I think when something growls at you, and you can imagine it could be a big cat, then you don't really want to kind of mess with that, too much, because one day, even though it's the UK, one of these things could, in defense of itself, maybe go on the offensive and jump out on you. So yeah, but that bit, yeah, that got me, that really kind of got me biting the bug, really, to actually want to get up to his place and experience more. And yeah, since that time, we've had many experiences, but um, very few that I've been able to maybe capture on camera. And what happened in 2019, the July, I think, of 2019 was the most incredible one. That was an entire night of just madness. Some of the stuff we experienced, most of which we didn't get on camera except for the last bit, and my meter going crazy. But I'll tell you that was a convincer to me that night, was that you're maybe not alone in this dimension or this universe, inner Earth, outer Earth. It's there's a lot we don't know, and maybe maybe there's just a thin veil between heaven and earth, and that we are maybe not meant to cross. But maybe down the line we will become a different a different being that is able to interact with the spirit world in a way that as a mere mortal human beings we can't really do now, and maybe science will enable that at some point. But who knows, who knows? But in the meantime, I just keep plugging away, trying to collect anecdotal evidence, and maybe if I come into any money, I can always get myself better equipment, um, and money's never an easy thing for anyone these days. But to have some better equipment would be fantastic. Um, a parabolic mic isn't out of the realms of possibility for me, and that would probably be my next piece of equipment, just something to be able to record everything that's going on with clarity, because they're amazing to listen to things. We've heard some weird things through parabolic mics up on Cannock Chase, that just defy logic, really, for times of year and at night. And so yeah, anyway folks, I that's it from me, and just wanted to say just thanks for being there, and even if you don't comment, it's cool. It's cool that you're watching. I'm not a scientist. Um, I'm not part of a woo woo either. So, and apart from the running away Scooby Doo bit that we did, I tried to be objective about what I experienced and try to think rationally about, maybe the sources of things. So that's all I can do. Um, there are more exciting channels where every video is a demon, so you're very welcome to look at them. But until until something turns up and says I'm a demon, I'm not going to label nothing, that I can't explain. And who can explain the paranormal? We might think something is a ghost, but who knows what it actually is in reality. So, um, you know what? Take care. Have yourself a fantastic week, and I will come back with another video. Maybe a little story for Halloween. So, take care. Have a great week.